This is a story of failure. Failure of regulators to effectively fight the dangers of vaping among America's youth. Failure to prevent predatory actors from capitalizing on regulatory loopholes. Failure by the federal agency charged with safeguarding public health and protecting Americans from harm to fulfill its mandate. Failure to preserve decades of progress in combating youth use of tobacco products. The decline in cigarette smoking rates among young people, one of the great American public health successes, now may be overshadowed by a new nicotine addiction epidemic spawned by these failures. As a result, youth use of e-cigarettes remains nearly 3 times higher than a decade ago, and a new generation is addicted to nicotine. Over the past 4 years, the Permanent Subcommittee on Investigation has looked into the rise of Juul and Puff Bar and the role of federal regulation in the youth vaping epidemic. Among our questions, where was the FDA? How did Juul hook our kids? What sparked the rise of disposable vapes? And how can we avoid repeating the mistakes of the past? Flashback to 2015, youth cigarette usage is in major decline, but Juul has exploded onto the market, using its, quote, vaporized, end quote, ad campaign and social media to push and promote its products as colorful, approachable, dynamic, and fun. Their e-cigarette design looked less like a smoking device and more like a piece of new, slick tech. A toy with colors and flavors like fruit medley, creme brulee, and mango that drew young users in by the droves. And these pods pack a punch. In fact, one pod equals a pack of cigarettes worth of nicotine. Sweet tasting, potent, easy to hide. There's no mystery how these products addicted a new generation of kids. Juul was hardly unaware of this problem. The company knew it was appealing to children and recognized flavors were a major driving force. A Juul consultant reportedly equated any move to stop selling non-traditional flavors with Juul ending all product sales. It also took a page from Big Tobacco's playbook. In fact, Big Tobacco took a major financial stake in vaping company. And where was the FDA? At this point, the FDA had already spent years working on a proposed regulation that would have required flavored tobacco products to be removed from the market. But they backed down after warnings of possible impacts on profits of vaping and tobacco companies and threats of industry lawsuits. Senior executive branch officials stripped out key provisions concerning flavors from the draft regulation, leaving a gigantic loophole in that provision that could have stopped huge harm in 2016 and onward. Year after year, more kids started vaping, and Big Tobacco's playbook was proved a winner. Youth addiction was a major, gargantuan goal. Bombarded by reports of dangerous health impacts of vaping and the role that flavors played in youth e-cigarette use, the FDA in 2020 finally moved forward with a half measure, enforcing restrictions on flavored cartridge-based e-cigarettes. The FDA left the door wide open for flavored disposable e-cigarettes to inundate the market. And so, making most of this new Wild West frontier were Nick Manasse and Patrick Beltran, who saw a market opportunity too lucrative to resist. Eyeing an already popular disposable e-cigarette brand among youth, these business bros purchased Puff Bar and replicated Juul's slick predatory practices. They knew that flavors like banana ice, blue raz, strawberry, banana, and blueberry ice appealed to youth. 5% nicotine concentrates hooked them, and cheap disposable products kept them coming back for more. Manasse and Beltran each respectively admitted that non-traditional flavors popular among youth were critical and extremely important to Puff Bar's business model. The draw of these disposable flavored products became a self-fulfilling prophecy. Manasseh and Beltran had only to meet the demand with shipments of product from China, while kids shared videos and photos promoting e-cigarettes online. At one point, Puff Bar related hashtags on social media had nearly 1 billion impressions. Puff Bar became, as Beltran said, the quote, Kleenex of disposables. Not just a brand, but a noun, synonymous with vaping. By 2021, Puff Bar was the most popular e-cigarette brand among middle and high school students, a trend that continued in 2022. These days, Puff Bar is far from the only problem. According to industry sales data, over 5,800 unique disposable e-cigarette products are currently being sold in a variety of flavors, up 1,500% from 365 products in early 2020. Once again, you're likely wondering, where is the FDA? To this day, the FDA still has failed to complete its review of applications for e-cigarettes. With the largest market share, it has failed until recently to do anything meaningful to increase enforcement efforts against e-cigarette companies and retailers. Think about it. We know more about what's in a bag of potato chips than what's in a vape. The results of my subcommittee's investigation are clear. The FDA must immediately complete its review of e-cigarette product applications and utilize the full weight of its enforcement power in partnership with other federal agencies. Congress must also support and fund research into youth nicotine addiction and raise public awareness to educate youth about the health risks of e-cigarettes and other tobacco products. Absent federal action, an expanding and rotating cast of opportunistic e-cigarette companies will continue to create new generations of young nicotine addicts. As the saying goes, where there's smoke, there's fire. We face a 5-alarm fire, and our response has been woefully inadequate. We must not allow another regulatory failure to put health and safety of our youth at risk.